Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to yet another video from your favorite man-child, Super Jesus Jackson. So Disney just wrapped up their D23 conference, which is basically, sort of this trade show, type of thing where they showcase a lot of the projects that they are working on, and just give us a little bit more information or sneak peeks of things that are coming up in the near future, such as, the teaser trailer to the live-action Lilo and Stitch, or Moana 2, or Toy Story 5 announcements, that sort of thing. And among some of the announcements and information that we got from this conference is more info on the Fantastic Four film starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and that other guy that's in that one really good show, Secession, I believe it's what it's called. I don't know. But he's portraying Ben Grimm. I heard he's a phenomenal actor. He's an Emmy Award-winning actor, I believe. So fantastic stuff. But yes, this Fantastic Four film, it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is very, very interesting. Of course, we know of the classic Fantastic Four films. And I'm not talking about, the ones that came out in the 70s or the 80s or, that one show that they did or the movie. I'm talking about, the 20th Century Fox, Jessica Alba, Chris Evans, Fantastic Four. A lot of us Gen Zers grew up with these films. I went to go see both of them in the theaters. The first one, Rise of the Silver Surfer, they hold a special place in my heart. And so when I found out that Marvel was going to bring Fantastic Four back, after, a long, not a huge hiatus, but we did have that, Fant4stic film, which I still haven't watched. I heard it's really bad, but that film, was a critical and box office bomb. I mean, just, awful, right? I was really intrigued, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to take over Fantastic Four, and they're actually having some faith on it because it's somewhat been known that Fantastic Four as a comic book entity even has not been the most popular. So like they even canceled the Fantastic Four series at one point because it just, it wasn't selling. People weren't reading those comics, which is baffling to me because the Fantastic Four to me are probably, besides the X-Men, the most interesting superhero group. I mean, just, they're awesome. They're so weird and, just bizarre, I mean, this Hulk, but not Hulk type of dude. And then this dude who could just stretch, and he's incredibly smart. The Human Torch, obviously, the Invisible Woman. It's just such a weird mix of people that I think can make for some really interesting storytelling. But there is a huge asterisk here, which is the fact that I'm not a huge Marvel fan, as some of you may know. I'm not a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe fan. But that being all said, I'm still interested in this new upcoming Marvel film because, it's got great actors in there. I love Pedro Pascal, that sort of thing. I love the Fantastic Four. My bias is already there. But on top of that, the most important thing really is Marvel has been on sort of a downhill as of late. It hasn't been releasing, the critical and box office darlings we've known them to release. And I'm a big underdog story fan, okay? Like, so if you can come back, a good comeback story is always awesome. But, why am I doing this video? Well, in this D23 conference, we got the official theme, or at least one of the official themes, from the new Fantastic Four film that's coming out in 2025. The theme is composed by Michael Giacchino. Of course, he is of Inside Out fame, of Spider-Man Homecoming fame. This guy has, he's a well-known composer. He's a well-established composer. I'm a big fan of his Inside Out compositions. I mean, come on. The theme to Inside Out alone, just puts this guy at the top of the echelon in film composing, I think, okay? I mean, he's not like better than Hans Zimmer, he's up there, and so people who attended this conference, they got to record the release of this theme song. They played it in the conference to sort of hype people up, right, about the film. Now, we know the film is set in the 60s, and given that, I think the song has a very, sort of Tomorrowland, Disney, sci-fi retro type of feel to it. It's a very interesting take, but what we're going to do here is we're going to listen to it, we're going to react to it, we're going to analyze it, but then we're also going to compare it to the original theme from the 20th Century Fox Fantastic Four films. I love the soundtrack to those films. The composer is John Ottman. He did the X-Men films as well, X-Men 1, 2, and 3, I believe. So, another well-established composer, but and you could tell sort of the influence, the John Williams, Danny Elfman vibes in his Fantastic Four theme, and I love it for that and for so many other reasons. But I figured we'd do a nice little comparison because I gotta say, spoiler, I wasn't a huge fan initially of this new Fantastic Four theme by Michael Giacchino. But, I've kind of come around to it, but I think it would still be interesting to kind of compare the two and see what you have to say in the comment section below. I'm excited. But here we go. Let's start first with the newly announced Fantastic Four theme by Michael Giacchino. Oh, and a big thanks to Skywalking Through Neverland for posting the video of the song from his footage, or maybe I don't know if he took it from someone else, but it's footage from the D23 conference showcasing the new song. I think, let me bring down the volume. So it has a lot of, wonder to it, which is really interesting. Yeah, it's pretty. It's interesting. There's a lot of science and science fiction to the Fantastic Four franchise, right? So it makes sense. It sounds like someone's just stepping out into, I feel like this is the song that we're gonna get when the Fantastic Four walk out into the supernova that gives them the powers. Very similar to, kind of like the vibes that Neil Armstrong, had, I'm sure when he walked out into the moon for the first time. Like, this would be the soundtrack to that, you know what I mean? That build-up was not as satisfying as I wanted it to be. This sounds a little bit, kind of campy, but it's whatever. It does get better. Da, 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 da. And then we get some more movement there. Let's go. Oh, I like the violins there. Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Really interesting. Really beautiful. Yeah, again, very campy, it sounds like something you would hear in Tomorrowland at Disneyland, you know what I mean? Da, 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 da. But it does get better. There it is. All right.
Cannot wait for that movie.
I gotta say, man, I mean, that was pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty fire. But, you know, it's a different take, you know, like I said, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. You know, I'm sure they're trying to make Fantastic Four as family freaking friendly as possible. You know, God forbid we go back into the Dark Knight-ish version of Fant Four Stick. But, you know, it's interesting. And if they pull it off, you know, if they capture this tone, you know, which I'm usually not a huge fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe tone, you know, just everything, like the way even that they shoot their movies, the way they look, it just looks, you know, I mean, I don't mean to be insulting. It's just the way that it looks to me. You know, it looks like it's something you would watch, you know, on TV, like a soap opera, you know what I mean? Which is fine if that's what you want, you know what I mean? If that's what you're shooting for. But to me, the Marvel Cinematic Universe to me has never been really that cinematic. You know, I just don't think so from the way the movies look, the dialogue, you know, it's got a lot of campiness, it's got a lot of fourth wall breakingness, you know, unless you're Deadpool. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think, to me, is just not entirely what I wish, you know, comic book movies should be. You know what I mean? Like, in my personal opinion, right? Have I enjoyed some Marvel films? Yeah, definitely. And I'm talking about, like, you know, Disney/Marvel films. What I'm trying to say is, I really hope that with this Fantastic Four film, I'm sure they're going to make it, like I said, extremely Marvel Cinematic Universe-y, you know, just family friendly, not very offensive, you know, nothing dark, nothing, you know, incredibly, you know, subversive or anything like that. But maybe I'll be surprised. I'm not sure, but I really hope that it's still good. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's hard for me to sort of have a lot of faith in that because of the previous films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the tone and style, but I really hope they pull it off. I love the Fantastic Four. Here's the thing, and I guess this is why I have the tiniest amount of optimism, even though I just said I didn't. I don't know where I'm going, but I think it's because, you know, it's set in the 60s. You know, it has this kind of, you know, retro, you know, futuristic, you know, nuclear family type of aesthetic to it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of optimism naturally, even though there's a lot of, you know, think of the Cold War, you know, but the America, you know, the America at that time, you know, wanting to go to the moon, you know, that sort of wonder and discovery, you know, is very, you know, it's campy and it's optimistic. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And so I think if you get that and you know, and put it in this Fantastic Four film, which is, you know, like I said, it's in the 60s or whatnot, I think all of that campiness and optimism makes sense because of where you have it. You know what I mean? And so maybe it's the one film where I think it would be fine for it to be campy and a little, you know, kind of, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. But, you know, I'm sure it's still going to have, you know, it's still going to try and have good emotion and storytelling. But that's what I'm saying. As opposed to having, you know, I don't know, a film like The Avengers where, you know, Hawkeye is making a dumb joke, you know, like in a scene or something when world-destroying aliens in the modern day are happening. You know what I mean? So I think it makes sense. If there's one film where that sort of tone and style would make sense, Fantastic Four, set in that period, I think would make sense. Very interesting. I'm excited to see it. And I think this theme right here captures that feeling. You know, it's campy, it's energetic. It literally also has a choir saying Fantastic Four. Like it literally has that, which is like, you can't get any campier than that. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of cringe when I heard it. But you know, like anything that, you know, is kind of campy at first, it can be kind of cringy, but then you sort of maybe embrace it, you know? And I think I ended up doing it here. But there's a lot of sophistication here with this theme. Like I said, with the orchestration, like I was pointing out in the reaction. And then just the upbeatness, I think. And it has this sense of wonder, the sense of exploration, which I think, like I mentioned, very similar to how America felt at the time. You know, seeing that Apollo mission, you know, head straight to the moon. And like, you know, the feeling of seeing that first man, you know, walk on the moon. It's got that sort of, you know, 60s camp to it, you know, and optimism and wonder. And I love it. And I love how it's, you know, I don't know, is that what the movie's called, First Steps? I'm not sure. I don't know if that's just the name of the song. But that's pretty cool. First steps, very interesting, you know, when you think of the first man stepping on the moon. This time it's plural, first steps, you know what I mean? Very, very interesting, you know, it's this, instead of, you know, 4 people going to the moon, which, I don't know, what if that's the plot? What if they're going to the moon and then, you know, shit happens on the moon? You know what I mean? Like, that's how they get their powers. I'm not sure. But whatever it is, maybe it's sort of relating to how astronomically amazing that event was for humanity, you know, going to the moon, putting the Fantastic Four getting their powers and how amazing they are, you know, just think of the Fantastic Four as an event. Think of, you know, you witnessing these 4 normal human beings going out into space and then getting these amazing, wondrous powers. That alone, I think, is an event that mirrors what one can feel and what one would have experienced seeing someone walk on the moon. You know what I mean? Like, it's superpowers, you know, and walking on the moon, I think, are pretty equal in my opinion. You know what I mean? I like how they use the first steps, you know, make it plural because it's 4, you know what I mean? 4 people essentially, you know, doing wonders, you know, becoming wonders, you know? Very interesting. This is what I'm saying is Fantastic Four, I think, is such an interesting storytelling and interesting, you know, characters, I think, that you can explore. I think this theme fits with the themes and the style of what the movie's going for, and I'm excited to see what Marvel does as something that I never thought I would say, but here I am saying it. But let's move now to John Ottman, Fantastic Four. This is the 2005 film, and I believe this is the main theme, essentially, of the Fantastic Four. And I think it is interesting for different reasons. Let's take a listen. There we go. The wonder. I think this was also the... I think this is the song they use in the opening titles. The choir. To be fair, I'm a little hypocritical. This is pretty campy too, but it's so good. But see, it gets really interesting. A lot of darkness, a lot of edge, but a lot of beauty to it. A lot of movements. I love it. That's a motif, definitely. Oh. Then he kind of turns that melody on its head in that section there. The traditional melody that he uses in the beginning. Oh, this part right here. Beautiful. Captures another sense of wonder, you know? Right there at that section. Oh, that's gorgeous. I will say, you know, I gotta give Michael Giacchino some more props, because I do think that he threw some respect in there. He threw a little bit of an homage, you know, it follows a little bit of the same beats, you know, his theme when compared to John Ottman's theme. You know, he didn't just he didn't just go in and just like, you know, make up a whole completely different theme. I mean, he did, but like you can sense the sort of inspiration, you know, and a little bit of the respect, you know, to John Ottman in Michael Giacchino's theme. You know, the way that it begins, it has that sense of wonder, sense of exploration, you know, that sort of science fiction aspect to it. It's got the choir in there, which I mean doesn't have to be essentially an homage, you know, or a little throwback to John Ottman's theme, because a lot of comic book hero themes have amazing choirs in there, you know, Hans Zimmer, of course, and it has a lot of campiness to it, just like John Ottman's theme does. So I think it's not a complete coincidence. I do think that there was a little bit of like some respect in there, a little bit of some homageness in there with Michael Giacchino's theme, which makes me even more excited for his soundtrack and makes me respect him more as a composer. But John Ottman's theme, man, oh my God. It's like 2.5 minutes long, and it has a lot of movements in there. A lot of campiness in there, but it's epic, you know, a lot of Danny Elfman, John Williams sort of inspiration in there, you know, with a lot of the horns and stuff like that. But it has that sense of wonder, that sense of exploration, that epicness with the choir, and just the melody. Dun, 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 dun. Very epic, you know, very, I don't know, I think it's a tad bit more sophisticated sounding compared to Michael Giacchino's theme. Just a tad bit, maybe. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comment section below if you think I'm off with that. But that being said, John Ottman's theme still has a lot of camp. But man, that sort of end section in this theme here is incredible. I mean, that is the theme that I remember as a kid. I remember this whole song here, but especially that end part right there. Just, I don't know, it has a darkness to it that I do think Michael Giacchino's theme doesn't really have. Now, maybe that theme doesn't. Maybe he's gonna have other songs in the film that will have some darkness to them. But I think that end section here in John Ottman's theme has a darkness, I think, that I don't even think maybe Michael Giacchino will do. Not because he's not capable of it, but I just think because of the tone and style of this new Fantastic Four film, we're probably not going to get that type of darkness or edge. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But that's kind of what makes me kind of put John Ottman's theme just a tad bit higher than Michael Giacchino's theme, but I do think they both give each other a run for their money. Michael Giacchino's theme, like I said, it's a little bit more consistent and it's a little bit more fitting to a little bit more campy version of Fantastic Four that we're getting, because the original 2005 Fantastic Four film still had some camp. You know, it still had that early 2000s comic book feel to it. That we know of. A little bit of the Daredevil in there. You know what I mean? But it still tried to be a little sophisticated. I think it's a weird darkness to it, a weird edge to it, and I think that this theme captures it while still not contradicting the camp. But Michael Giacchino's theme, I think, is just a little bit more solidified on the tone, on a little bit more of the upbeat, wonder, family-friendly type of theme. I think it's a little bit more cemented in that. Even so, it's still very good at that. You know what I mean? It's still phenomenal at that. And so, it's a different type of feeling. Sometimes it kind of, gives it a little bit more sophistication. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's sophisticated even in its campiness, even in its desire to cement itself in a more family-friendly, wondrous, Tomorrowland type of feel. I think it's still very sophisticated in that realm, and that's why I love it so much too. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to go a little bit less dark, a little bit less edgy, a little bit less John Ottman, I guess, even though like I said, his theme is still pretty fun. You're gonna double down on this new Marvel Cinematic Universe style Fantastic Four. Do it like that, do it the way that Michael Giacchino is doing it, So, hey, I mean, I guess it's a win-win, you know what I mean? It's slightly different, a little bit more committed to that, 1960s Tomorrowland, type of feel, but still has epicness to it. Still definitely does. Nostalgia, John Ottman's theme calls out to me because of the nostalgia and because of the epicness and a little bit of the darkness to it. But I think for what they're going for, what each are going for, I think they do a phenomenal job in their own respective realms. But I'm going to put John Ottman's theme just a tiny bit higher, and we're going to put Michael Giacchino's theme right down below there, just a tad bit. But I'm curious, what would you say about these two themes? Let me know in the comment section below. But there we have it, everyone. Those are my thoughts on the Fantastic Four themes, the old one and the new one. Like I said, please let me know in the comment section below what you think. Where would you rank them? What do you have to say? You want to argue with me, you want to agree with me, let me know. Give this video a like if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content. Share with your Fantastic Four or Marvel-loving friends if you will. If it's your birthday, happy birthday to you, you beautiful creature. But I think that's it for me. You all take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.